So today we are back in the shop with my 1978 Plymouth Trailduster. Now if you've seen the previous videos, if you haven't already, check it up in the top right. We actually got this thing back running and driving after it's been off the road since 1996. Then the next video we got the brakes to work and we drove it down the road for the first time and it drove pretty well. Except it just doesn't look the part. It doesn't act the part. It can't perform like it's supposed to, like the off-road rig it should be. We're going to fix that today because we have a 4-inch rough country suspension lift that we're going to throw at this thing, including some wheels and tires along with it, and we're going to take this thing off-roading. So stick around to the end of the video to see how much better this truck looks after all these parts. Here is the first major piece of our rough country lift. This is the 4-inch lift springs. We got to do a couple small things like putting in the new polyurethane bushings, but that's not a whole lot of work. So let's go ahead and knock these in so we can see how much better these springs ride. And very conveniently with the lift, we get longer U-bolts, and on top of that, all the necessary hardware to make it work. We got 2 for each side. Let's go ahead and drop these in, torque them down. Play a little game, is this hot? No, we're good. So the problem with the old springs is that they were literally starting to inverse. Whenever you had weight on the truck, the springs were kind of arching in the opposite direction. So these new springs, they'll correct that and give it a few inches of lift. Honestly, it's a 4-inch lift, but with the springs being so worn out, it honestly could be more than that. But once we get this on, our 33s will clear. We'll have more
room for articulation. On top of that, we have new shocks, we have new U-bolts, all the hardware. I've got spacers for the sway bar that I'll show you here in just a minute. And I forgot to put bushings in these things. So that's good. So the fun part about doing stuff that's really old, and especially with suspension parts, is a lot of times these things don't want to come loose, basically. So there's a stud on the other side. You know, you saw U-bolts that actually bolt the spring on, but there's one U-bolt over here, and then there are two studs. Now, whenever you buy a rough country lift, it comes with these longer studs. Now, the problem is not these studs, it's the one that's actually in the truck still. I don't know what we're going to do. They're not very happy right now. So I'm going to try and do a combination of torching, penetrating fluid. I don't know. Might have to weld a nut on the top of this and then actually try to spin it out. We're going to keep trying. How's your day been? Mine not so great. Broke it loose, but the wheel broke. It started moving. There's what we had. It did work. It started to rotate a little bit and then the weld gave way. See that right there? I think it was bent. It's probably been overloaded. That's all it took though. A few passes of the torch, some welding, it's out. Now we got one more to do. The heaters are done. So now, all of that to replace with this. See how it's longer? Goes in like that. Perfect. All this grease and grime was probably caused by a leaky wheel cylinder or, you know, bad shock. Who knows at this point? But I'll just, you know, do a little bit of restoration here, work with the old screwdriver, get some of this trash off of it. So, because you know, you obviously want all of your nice suspension parts to look brand new. Good enough. I'm not gonna lie, got a little bit nervous there for a second. Where's that U-bolt at? Where did I do it? That's all I'm trying to do. That's right there in front of me. The good thing about all these new parts is that it does come with new U-bolts. So I was okay with cutting stuff up, but you know, you can't cut those studs out because they kind of have to come out. If you cut anything out, you don't have any room to grab on with the vice grip. So we're going to throw this new U-bolt right back into place. had one on charge. I missed the impact already. Ow. Out of 3. Can we get 3 for 3? Aha! 3 for 3. Not too bad. The spacer here is supposed to help with alignment, the geometry of the steering arm right here, because when you lift it, this is such a severe angle that you lose a lot of your range of motion basically. So when we drop this spacer in here like so, and you put this back up on top of it, now you have that steering arm pretty much level with the spring like it was before we add the lift. So that's what the purpose of that is. Uh-oh. This is why you wear protection, safeties. Oh, wow. Well, a McCool auto shirt is not fire resistant, so I do not recommend running to a burning house with one on. Now the original setup on this truck is leaf springs with giant lift blocks. So we're going to eliminate that completely and go with lifted leaf springs. So you can see here they just ran a really long U-bolt and put these blocks in here. Somebody might even added one right here, it looks like. I don't really know, but I don't really care for that. We're going to get rid of all of that completely and have some really nice springs and brand new shocks from Rough Country. Here at McCool Auto, we also provide professional cleaning services. Please be spinning. Thank you. So Rough Country gives us the U-bolts and the hardware to make all this happen. We've got both of our rear leaf springs in, and it's starting to look really cool. I like the quality of everything, but we're going to drop these in place and just reuse our old shock plates. And once that's done, we're that much closer to getting this thing on the ground. Put the rear shocks in and see what it looks like. It's starting to look really, really tough with this lift kit on it. I cannot wait to see what it looks like. Anything's a hammer if you believe. Out of my existence, please. These are sway bar spacers, and what they do, whenever you lift the front end of the truck here, the sway bar is going to be at an angle. Now we want the sway bar to be parallel because, you know, if your geometry is off, then the thing's just going to be all over the road and put everything in a bind. These act as a spacer to drop the sway bar down and make it run in line and parallel with the ground. And that's what you want. So we're going to pop these in, and hopefully that makes everything a lot better. Ooh, scared me. Oh yeah, that'll work. Finally. If you remember from the first video, we did not have a front drive shaft, and I bought this whole new unit instead of just trying to repair the original. I figured, hey, got all brand new U-joints, new shaft, everything is brand new and greasable while we're at it, so that's a good point to have there. So we're going to pop this thing in. I've got all new hardware to make it work, and we can finally see if we can put this thing in four-wheel drive. I know low range works, but you know, I've never actually got to see this thing spin some tires. And to button up our Rough Country lift, we're going to top it off with some brand new wheels and tires. Now these are 15x10 Pro Comp wheels and Kenda Clever MTs. They're 35x1250 15s, and I gotta say they look mighty aggressive. Look very, very good on this truck. Very good budget friendly setup. I've read a good bit of reviews on both of these, and I really enjoy the way this thing looks. Now you're probably wondering, why didn't I put the white letters out? Well, I've got a surprise that I think is really awesome. Here's why. Now, I wanted to do something a little bit different instead of putting Kenda Clever out. Treadwear was kind enough to send us some tire stickers that were custom made for our Trailduster. As you can see, it literally says Trailduster
Mud Grip MT. And they make all sorts of different custom fonts, different logos for whatever your need may be for a range of different wheel sizes. So if you have a chance, I would highly recommend it. Go check out their link in the description. They are two great dudes who are just awesome at what they do, and these things are amazing. I'm going to put the rest of these on real quick on the other 3 tires, and we're going to back this thing out for the first time with all the new parts. First drive, initial reaction. Really not that bad. It's a lot better than I had anticipated it. When you always hear like people talking about really tall lifted trucks, they're all over the road, but I mean, it's honestly not as bad as I was expecting. We may take it and see if we can get it crossed up in my ditch over here at my land. See if it'll actually crawl through there. I know low range works, but like I said, I've never tried it with the front drive shaft in because it's always been broken. You know, I've never had a front drive shaft in the truck. So I'm excited to see how 4-wheel drive actually works. Now these trucks are a full-time 4-wheel drive system, but the front and rear axles are both open axles, so they're not like a limited slip situation. So, I mean, it may get a little precarious in some really heavy mud, but it's not that bad. I mean, tires are kind of noisy because they're mud tires, and I still have yet to get in alignment, but I'm honestly pretty surprised with how nice this rough country lift rides. Like, I've ridden in some trucks that are just miserable to go down the road, but you know, whenever you hit a bump, things start to rattle and pop. But I mean, these shocks, they soak up the bumps. They're not noisy, they're not obnoxious. It rides honestly like if the truck I guess was new. I mean, it's all new suspension components, so it's riding basically like if it were a new truck. So I enjoy that. Even my blue truck that I really love, every time you hit a bump, the thing just rattles and shakes and pops, but it's quiet. It's honestly very quiet. I enjoy it. I really like this. I'm just out here at my land and crossed through the ditch right here. The thing did it effortlessly. I mean, didn't even struggle to do anything at all. Just articulates, rides smooth, looks great. I even have the sway bar still connected and it's still articulated just fine. I mean, I've got it crossed up pretty good. You can even tell, like, look, the bumper's even flexed. I've got it articulating pretty hard. So you can tell, I mean, it's got a good bit of flex going on right here. And that rough country lift just soaks all that up. Didn't even struggle to do anything just then. Everything works perfectly fine. Man, I love this truck. It looks so cool. It's so cool. And having that front drive shaft in is a heck of a lot nicer now because I don't have to worry about getting stuck in the muddy spots like right there. Put it in 4-low and I guarantee this thing will crawl right out. Speaking of, put it in 4-low right now and just crawl right out. Look, didn't even have to try. I mean, this truck is so cool. Man, I love it. Oh, I love it so much. Like, doesn't even have to try. Which I know it's not like anything crazy, but I mean, that ditch, we flexed it out pretty good on that ditch and it didn't even struggle. So I'm very, very, very happy with the rough country lift. Very happy with the tires, the wheels. But here's the thing, we're not done yet. I mean, this is just the build. Now we got to put this thing to the test. Well, I have a gravel pile, so why not? Look at that thing, man. Golly. Stuff looks tough. Cannot beat it. Just look at it right here. absolutely mean looking. I mean, you cannot beat a lifted old truck. No matter if it's a Dodge, a Ford, a Chevy, it doesn't matter. They just look cool. Instead of 33s, 35s, whatever, I mean, I don't know. You just can't beat it. I absolutely have fallen in love with this truck just messing around with doing this lift. And I gotta admit, I mean, it just doesn't get any better, guys. And like I said, I mean, it's gonna get so much more fun when we can actually use this thing out in the woods, out in the trails, go see how much we can flex this thing and really have a lot of fun with it. So, man, I can't quit looking at it. I hope you guys really enjoyed this truck just as much as I do, because I really want to keep using it, keep driving it. Well, I have to admit, I'm very, very happy with how the Trailduster turned out. I just did 55 miles an hour down the road and 0 issues with the lift. So, rough country, you guys make a really good lift. Thank you guys for providing that, sponsoring the video. And, I mean, just look at it. It looks so good. I mean, this thing looks literally so mean. And again, like I said, I've got a trail. I'm on my land right now. There's a trail that goes way deep into the woods, and I want to take it through there and camp out of the back. And as you know about the Traildusters, they have this back hatch here that we're going to take, clean all that out, and use it as a place to sleep. I don't know how well that's going to work, but I think it would be awesome. So stay tuned for that. Well, I gotta say, this truck looks so much better with our 4-inch lift from Rough Country, our 15x10s, 33/1250s, and our treadwear tire stickers. This thing looks tough. It rides great, it drives great. I mean, I can't be any happier with how this thing ended up turning out. So I'm really excited to use it. And that's what we're gonna do in the next video. So make sure you subscribe, turn on the notifications so you don't miss out, because we are going to take this thing off-road, way back into the woods under a trail, and go camping and see what it's like to spend the night, or maybe 2 nights, in the back of this truck. So make sure you like, subscribe, leave a comment if you liked the video, order a t-shirt, order a sticker. I appreciate everything that you guys have done for me, and I'll see you in the next one.